everybody. Welcome to your very favorite Bronze Age comic book podcast. This is the big one, number 100 of Flea Market Fantasy. I'm your co-host, Mike L, and as always, I'm joined by...
Michael Dell of the LCS Hockey Radio Show.
That's right. Now, here's the thing. Good news is I do have a special guest lined up, but I'm having trouble. Adding them. But I think I got it figured out. Just a minute here. Hold on a sec. Oh no! Now I'm adding a JPEG to the conversation. Just a minute here. This person almost with this. There we go.
Hello.
There we go.
Is that Kevin Jank?
That is the dulcet tones of Kevin Jank.
Jank. Right away. I know. I need to apologize, Jank, right off the top here, because the last time you were on, I think Mike L roped you into doing a terrible Superman book, and now he did it again.
Yeah.
He did it again.
Button hooked me.
But
Never ends.
The good news, Jank, is this is your 7th appearance, so you've now tied mouthwash.
Yeah, that's why I did it. Really.
Yeah, you just want to get another one under the belt.
Yep. I'll take anything. You want to review all 12 issues of the whole pack? Fine.
Woo!
I feel terrible, though, Jank. Again, my apologies. I'm so sorry that you had to read. Did you have time to read this book?
Yes. Yeah. Found out about this earlier today.
I'm sure it's a real page turner. It's very exciting. This book.
So much punching.
This is
I tried to cater to Mike Dell's primitive tastes. I know he likes John Byrne, so that's why I picked it, you know?
I like John Byrne the artist, John Byrne the writer, not so much.
Okay.
But
yeah.
Here's let's reboot Superman. You know, all that stuff you already know and like isn't really exciting or interesting at all. Let's tell you all that again. Let's just do that all again.
Not quite, because all this stuff is unfortunately different from the stuff that I know and love. So,
yes.
Which we'll talk about.
Very different.
Yeah,
like at least the hair.
All new, all different.
So, actually, you know what? Before we even get into this comic, let's use Kevin Jank as a guinea pig. And I want to know, Kevin Jank, what do you know about Superman's, comic book origins? Like, what is the basic story of Superman?
Well, let me interrupt for one moment. Before you get into that, Jank, let me just tell the kids out there listening, all the orphans and everything who are listening right now, that if you can make it through the Superman review, we will then celebrate our 100th episode with Mike L. You have some data that you compiled, right?
Yes, I did.
And then I put together an award ceremony, the FLEAs, I was going to say the first annual.
Oh, cool.
So it's like the Oscars, but it's our 8 categories. We'll give out a winner. And again, I had nothing to do with it. It was the Academy of Voters, Mike L.
Okay.
I had nothing to do with this.
All right, whatever you say. I believe you.
I'm just reporting the results.
Okay.
So we'll hand out our awards for like the best book, best artist, all that kind of stuff for the first 100 issues that we've read.
Do you want to do that first or do that after?
We'll do that after. Because if we do that first, everyone will just listen to that and then tune out.
Oh, that's what you think. If only you knew.
But this way, they have to suffer with us as we read the Superman.
Right.
It's called
all right. So, Kevin Jank, to get back to Mike L's question, what do you know about the backstory of Superman?
Okay, about his origin. I mean, there's been so many versions that are all basically the same, but I know essentially his parents, were on Krypton and the planet was dying, so they sent him off in a rocket ship to Earth.
Taking a rocket? Right away, I think Astronaut Jones,
Oh my God.
Yes. Taking a rocket? All right.
Back in my suitcase.
That's right.
Look out, Boone.
Mike L, do you know Astronaut Jones? Do you know him?
No, I don't. No.
Tracy Morgan, Saturday Night Live. Very funny.
The theme song was way longer than all the sketches.
Huh.
It was fantastic.
Yes. All right, anyway, I'm sorry, Jank. I interrupted again.
So he ends up landing in Kansas. Ma and Pa Kent, who are just some simple farmers, they kind of find him while they're driving. And they find him in this big crater in a spaceship, and they take him in and raise him as their own and raise him in this, small town of Smallville.
Small town of Smallville.
Yeah.
But see,
and eventually he becomes a reporter.
DC is so creative with their names. It's a small town. What should we call it? Smallville?
Yeah, it's a fairy tale. Exactly. Now, I should point out that there are a few crucial... I mean, we'll get into this later, but I just want to point out that Jor-El has a green and yellow shirt. There's no getting around that, okay? Jor-El has a green and yellow shirt. Lara has actually I don't know what color shirt Lara has usually, which proves
I don't
that
know what you're talking
DC's
about. Wait,
Superman's parents, Jor-El and Lara.
okay.
Anyway,
But you're saying in this book, or
no,
like,
no, no, no. I'm seeing the real Superman. I'm seeing the real Superman.
So
Okay.
you're saying that's the part you have a problem with? Is
Yeah,
they changed
yeah,
the
but
color of
huge
his
Huge
shirt?
problem. Huge problem. Now the other thing is that Krypton is supposed to be a utopia. That's another thing.
Well,
Clark Kent is supposed to be a nerd at high school, right? As we saw in the movie, he's supposed to be a nerd,
well, I
right?
think, well, you're jumping way ahead because we haven't even described what's in this book.
Well, that's the thing. I want the audience to know what the original Superman is before we get into this reboot of Superman. That's why I'm
Okay,
explaining. Okay,
but
there you go.
all right.
I'm done.
So, oh, those are all the big changes that aggravated you. That's
Those are the main ones. We'll get to more later.
they had
Well,
different
I mean-
colored shirts,
Yeah.
and it was supposed because technically the argument could be made that Krypton is a utopia. It's just what your definition of utopia is. in this
Okay, well
book.
that's a different argument, but yeah.
Yeah.
We'll talk
So-
about
I feel like
that.
Small
That'll
to
be
make
part
it
3 of
clear.
our show. We'll debate what a utopia is. That'll be the third segment. Anyway.
But yeah, so can't wait to read this one. Yeah, we should mention the creators here. John Byrne wrote and drew it, and Dick Giordano's the anchor. I love me some Dick Giordano. He's very good. Yeah,
He's good. He's good. He's solid. Yep.
I thought the art here was pretty solid.
yeah. Like if this isn't X-Men John Byrne, I don't know. I really liked his work on She-Hulk. I don't even know if this is She-Hulk John Byrne, but it's better than Alpha Flight John Byrne.
Yeah.
And
Right.
Better than 90s Spider-Man John Byrne.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
like you can tell he was trying here for most of this. Like
Yeah.
he wasn't just phoning it in. Like this is good art. So yeah, I agree. What else
Well-
should we do about? Should we say anything else about the Superman up front?
Can I just give a brief, 2-second explanation of what was going on with Superman right before this?
Yes, because why did they need to do this, Mike?
Okay, this is
it's a 6-issue limited series, by the way.
right. And if now, this is actually a nice coincidence that Kevin Jank is our guest because Kevin Jank was here for our review of Superman 223, which was the last reboot of Superman. Remember that, Kevin?
Yep.
How could
Okay.
we ever forget?
Now, the good thing
Very
about
special
that,
issue.
yeah, very special issue. Now, the good thing about that reboot is technically it wasn't a reboot; it was a revamp. Where when they got they didn't rewrite Superman's history; they just kind of changed him, right? They updated him and made him less powerful. They got rid of kryptonite, blah blah blah. They give him a new job. Unfortunately, as soon as what?
Wait, let me. Oh, I was going to say, what new job did they give him? But was he working at a TV station or
Yeah,
something?
he went from the Daily
Yeah.
Connecticut Galaxy Broadcasting with Morgan Edge. Now, in what had happened, as soon as Denny O'Neil left Superman, they completely went back to the status quo and they ignored everything he did. So yeah, that didn't last long. And so, the Superman that the general public doesn't like kind of continued for like the next 15 years where he was all powerful, he couldn't be hurt, right? He could travel like faster than the speed of thought, His stories were I enjoyed them, but compared to the average Marvel comic, they were more fantastical and more aimed at children, right? And so around this time, as we all know, us flea market fantasy listeners will know, Crisis on Infinite Earths had happened and had revised DC's history. And so they decided, well, now is our chance to start our characters over, from the beginning. And so Frank Miller and Steve Gerber had each pitched their version of Superman. I think Alan Moore might have as well. But DC was so desperate to get John Byrne away from Marvel that they went with John Byrne's pick. And so at this point, again, you could go at this point, Kurt Swan was still drawing Superman. The writers were, I believe, Elliot S. Maggin, Cary Bates, and Martin Pascal. Those were pretty much the regular Superman writers for like 15 years. So even though I enjoy the stories, I can understand if other Mike Dell-esque readers would think that it's a little bit stale, And so that brings us to this, which at the time was a pretty big deal. This was eventually Superman made the cover of Time magazine, actually, drawn by John Byrne. So it was a
Can you
pretty
believe
big deal.
this crap is still going on? That was the headline.
Yep.
Can you believe-
So that's that.
Michael, did they ever? You said different people made pitches to reboot it or whatever. And from what I read, it seems like DC went with Byrne not only because they wanted to bring him over from Marvel, but because he basically agreed with like 99% of the stuff they wanted to do anyway. But like
Oh,
Alan,
okay.
Nice.
but Alan Moore and the other people you mentioned, they had more dramatic
Really?
alterations in plan. But I was just going to ask you, did you ever read what those were?
You know, to be honest, not in detail, just like hints. But no, have you read them?
No, they didn't say. They just said they had more
Ah,
drastic. Like I'm
I gotta
guessing,
say, I'd be curious to hear Frank Miller's.
yeah.
It's kind of weird.
I'm guessing his was probably let's make him cool and interesting, and they said no, we're not doing that.
Woo, you got me.
So let's keep it status quo. But yeah, apparently what the editors want to do and what like Byrne wanted to do like lined up almost perfectly. So they're like, all
Okay,
right.
okay. So John Byrne can't take all the blame for changing the color of Jarrell's shirt. Gotcha.
Yes,
All right.
that son of a bitch.
How dare he?
So, but yeah, you mentioned the Crisis on it. Hey, by the way, Crisis on Infinite Earth. So when we did that on the show, you know who the guest was? Cousin Brandon.
Cousin Brandon. I see how everything ties together.
But
Amazing.
Would have been the perfect follow-up.
yes. But I guess one of the reasons why they want to do this reboot, you said the Crisis, but they were trying to streamline things, right? They were trying to like tighten up his origin. One of the big things was he was now the sole survivor of Krypton.
Right.
No more Crypto the dog. No more Supergirl or whatever. They just wanted to make
For a
it just
couple
him.
years.
Yeah, just him. And I guess, Michael, this also kind of how did this affect his career as Superboy? Because I was reading something like they said this kind of monkeyed with his career as Superboy, right? Like he no longer was Superboy.
So yeah, again, Jank, I don't know if you know this, but they had retconned Superman in like the 50s to say that he had a career as Superboy. He also had 10 years of Superboy in Smallville. He was friends with Lex Luthor. There was also
Wait, he was friends with Lex Luthor?
Yes, Lex Luthor was his high school friend. Yeah.
Wait, isn't Lex Luthor like 30 years older than him?
Same age. They were
Really?
Yeah, he was a teenager, and then Clark Kent or Superman or Superboy accidentally made him bald with I can't remember some experiment went
I think
wrong.
he blew his hair off or something.
Yeah,
With
something like that.
super breath.
But then Superman, he also had a dog, Crypto the super dog. He had Beppo the super monkey.
I was just gonna say, wasn't there a monkey?
Yeah, there was Comet the super.
Now, why can't you pick a Beppo issue? For
One
I want to read a Beppo book.
Don't you dare me! I will. And then there was also the Phantom Zone villains. There was the Bottle City of Kandor. So basically, what it came down to is it seems like everybody on Krypton survived except his parents, right? So
let me ask you this. We all know that Krypton blows up and stuff, but I always thought, maybe this was just me, but my perception was the planet blew up because of nuclear war or whatever. Like it was just a war going on.
Not as far. I've never come across that. From what I remember, it was always.
I think in some versions it's been like that. Like I want to say the Superman movies were kind of like that.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Well, in the movies, I think it was just. I think they say it was some kind of chain reaction, or in the core or something. I don't think it was war.
Well, what was it? But wasn't that the whole thing about Superman? That was it 4, where the Quest for Peace? Wasn't that the whole thing? My planet blew up because of nuclear what? Wasn't that?
They might have mentioned that. I mean, I have seen that movie 68 times, so I should know.
But Michael, in terms of your knowledge of the origin, it was always just the planet just blew up.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be a natural disaster a lot of the time. Where Jarrell was like, "Oh, you're ruining the planet. You got to stop," and no one listened to him.
Right.
So they left the oven on, and it's oh, planet went. So, all right. So I guess that's all that we need to know about the Man of Steel, and are we done? Okay.
So. Well, here's the one thing I've got to ask you, Michael. Did they just reboot Superman in this whole thing, or I mean, what about the other characters? Like Batman, they didn't reboot at this time.
Actually, they did. Yes, Frank Miller did Batman Year One.
Oh, true.
And so, if you were to go and read, there's this classic story called I think it's called Untold Legend of Batman, and it basically is the concise version of Batman's pre-crisis origin. And then if you read that, and then you read Batman Year One, you'll see the differences. But the thing about Batman, though, is it was more subtle, where they never erased his history; they just changed his origin, and everything else they pretty much left in place.
Okay.
So, but it was really good though. Yeah, and then they redid Wonder Woman. George Perez did Wonder Woman, and and that was pretty much it. The rest of them, they pretty much left the same at DC.
Did Batman still like to hang out with underage kids in caves?
Absolutely.
Of course.
Absolutely.
That's a mainstay.
Yeah.
Old men and young boys. Those are his favorite.
All right. Also, Mike, this you mentioned how they rebooted it before or revamped it, and then that didn't last when Denny O'Neil left. And then they did this with John Byrne, and this is 1986. And then by like 2003, didn't they do it again?
You mean Superman Birthright by
Yes.
Mark Waid? Yep, there was another rebooted origin. And then 2 years later, there was Superman Secret Origin, which was another rebooted origin by Jeff Johns. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this: in the Mark Waid one, did his mom have a red shirt?
Oh, you know what? I don't
What's that?
remember, but I didn't hate it, so her shirt must have been fine, right?
Okay.
There you go.
Like, did they make what? Do you know what any significant changes they made to that one?
Well, I know that I think mostly Mark Waid tried to explain what he did in between leaving Smallville and becoming Superman, and then get this, he also made him vegetarian.
Nice.
Yep.
Oh, no. I'm out.
Me and Superman.
Yep.
He's your favorite now.
Yeah.
You switched. He's
Well,
got
I
a monkey and he's a
I was
vegetarian.
gonna say I still like Beppo way better. And
Yeah.
I've never seen Beppo. But, hey, Michael, speaking of DC monkeys, don't they have that detective chimp guy?
Oh
Yeah.
yes, absolutely.
I was actually going to pick a detective chimp.
Oh,
but apparently from the 70s and 80s, he's like almost non-existent. He was had like one appearance and it was pretty terrible, and he didn't become popular again until like the 90s and the 2000s or something. So
that's
we
too
missed
bad.
out on him.
Yeah.
So maybe Beppo. Fingers crossed we can get a Beppo.
Yep.
Everyone, make sure to write in.
Yes. All right. All you listeners out there. All right, so let's look at the cover here. The Man of Steel, the comics event of the century, Michael.
Yep.
Of the century.
Yeah. Well, I think they're right.
Because his mom has a different colored shirt.
And I got to point out, the more famous cover is the second one, but
Oh yeah. I was going to say that. Yeah.
That does look cool.
because
All right, because we're reading like a digital version. It has the both covers. But describe the collector's edition cover, Michael. Talk about that one first.
you mean the okay. So yeah, this is the famous one with the different logo, but basically it's just a close up of the logo, Superman's chest logo, and his hands opening up the shirt.
Yeah.
And so-
Now I don't like the way it's colored. I'm guessing that's probably just like maybe this digital representation. The coloring seems pretty weird. But yeah, this is a great cover though. Just
absolutely.
Ripping open his shirt and the emblem. That's all you see.
Yeah,
it's great.
Classic.
Now let's talk about this other cover.
Well, here's the thing.
I don't think the other one's terrible. It's just not as good as the other one.
Right.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing. If you jump to numbers 2 to 6, you'll see that they all have the same pattern, right? You saw that.
And it was a questionable decision.
Yeah, it's not the best. I don't know if you went ahead, Jank, to look at the other ones.
I did a little bit.
Yeah. So they all have one character on the right, and then an action scene like in the main part of the cover.
Yeah, if you're visioning the cover, like divide the cover up vertically in fourths. The first 3/4 on the left are like what a normal cover would be. Then we have a character standing like on the boundary between the boundary of the third fourth and the fourth.
Right.
There's a big character standing there, and like each issue it changes. So in issue 1, it's Superman opening up his shirt to show you the emblem, and then the fourth is all white.
Right.
And
it's not bad. It's not bad. But here's the other thing too, though, is that not only is the collector's cover better, but it has a completely different logo that's also much better, right? Like the Man of Steel. But the other one is the Superman logo with like a 3D kind of like block below it with like kind of diamond.
Yeah, it looks more like diamonds than steel.
Right. It's just not a great logo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we said, the character that's featured changes. I think issue 2 is at Lois Lane.
Yeah.
And 3 is Lex Luthor, I think.
And 3 is Batman, then Lex Luthor.
Lex Luthor.
Yeah, then Bizarro, then
Beppo. And then Beppo.
Then Beppo, that's right. That's right.
He only took up a tiny portion of the page.
But so we have Superman standing there, but he's dressed in his pants, his khakis, and his running shoes, with the W logo. I don't know what those would be. Wikes, I guess. And and
Yes.
he's opening up his shirt to show the emblem of the Superman outfit. And then, but the other side of the cover here, the first 3/4, we have, it looks like Krypton exploding with a
Right.
rocket ship shooting off with a purple like chemtrail behind it, and it's like, oh yay! I don't know. I think they could have done much better with this cover. This is not. If I see this on the newsstand, I'm like, oh yeah, I got to pick this up.
It's it's funny. It's not. I think it's okay. I like the way Krypton is drawn, like green and yellow. I like the
Mhm.
rocket ship. However, I think this proves John Byrne cannot really draw realistic clothing that basically just like looks like 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 the naked human figure, which is what a superhero is, with just like badly drawn material at the bottom to make it look like pants. But I don't think those pants look
I,
good at all.
I agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's he's busting out of
I
them.
mean, they're
khakis.
pleated in the front.
Those are
That's something.
form-fitted khakis, or like stretch khakis.
Well, as Ma points out, the clothes have to be tight because then they won't tear.
That is true. That is true. Yeah, we'll get into that. But
Yeah,
there's something
yeah.
else weird about his clothing.
Yep.
that
We'll talk about that.
But I also don't like the rocket ship that he drew. I think that design's pretty weird. I don't know.
Well, yeah, the rocket ship's supposed to be blue and red, but we won't talk about that. This is, anyway.
I just think if this is
Just
supposed
things
to be
all
the
wrong
comic,
color.
if this is supposed to be the comic event of the century, and you're kicking off, you're rebooting Superman, you're the iconic character of this company. I'd want a better cover than this.
Yeah, that's
This
yeah,
design is really like.
yeah. The second cover's better, obviously.
Yeah, the collector's edition.
Yeah.
Now-
That's pretty great.
Did you come across this in your research that this is the first ever variant cover in history?
No, I didn't.
Yep.
It's
I
just
mean,
Pandora's box.
Yeah, so we
yeah.
know who to blame now.
What's that?
So now we know who to blame.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. I mean, there might have been like there was definitely different logos. Like maybe one comic had a DC logo and a Whitman logo or something, but that's just BS. But this is the the first planned variant cover. So you're right. This is to blame.
And this is
Wow.
1986.
86. Yep.
Then it became crazy in the 90s, right? Everywhere.
Exactly. Right.
I don't think it was that bad in the 90s. It's more like the recent years where like every issue, not even anniversary issues, just every issue has like 17
Well,
covers.
Right. Right.
Well, I remember like in the 90s, they would be like the foil covers and
Yeah, I love that stuff.
yeah. Like, I
I'll
remember
shell
the
out
event,
extra money for that.
like Spider-Man had that green foil cover variant, and then the Avengers had one of like Vision. I think that was different and stuff. So
Yeah.
Well, see, like if
X-Men
you
had those ones with the holograms on them for
Yes.
fatal attractions. That was
Right.
great.
the thing is they used to call them multiple covers, right? Like there'd be 5 different X-Men covers or 5 different Spider-Man covers, and it was a little bit different. But variant covers are I don't know. It's like more like it's like Jenk said. It's almost like every single comic practically
Yeah.
has a variant cover, and it's weird because it's not like the intention is for you to buy 2 or 3 different versions of the same comic. It's for you to buy one and then pay $25 for the variant. That's what it usually.
Yep.
That's how, because they're usually incentive covers. Like you have to buy, say, 50 copies of one comic to get the variant, and then
What?
that's how they usually work. And the dealers will charge, tons of money for that variant, and that's how they make their money.
Yikes.
So that's how current
Yeah.
variants work. Yeah, it's different.
Yeah. Now, Jank, do you own any variant covers?
Oh, sure. As much as I rail against it, I certainly have some. But in principle, I don't like it.
Well, I'll tell you right now, Michael. I will throw down $25 for a Beppo variant cover.
All right. I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah.
But-
All right,
If I come across any.
Range.
let's get into the story here, Michael.
All right. Let's see here. Superman 1986. Okay. We got Superman created by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. Prologue. This is where they tell us like all the chapter titles and all that, right? Prologue from Out of the Green Dawn. We got a shot.
No, Michael,
Huh?
just to correct you, from Out the Green Dawn.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
I noticed that.
Classier.
Trying
that-
to be classy and poetic. Yeah.
Is that like a reference to a specific thing, or is that just
I
poetic?
think they're just trying to be highfalutin.
Gotcha. So we see this, fairly coolly designed science fiction-y looking building. with
Yeah,
a red sun.
again, John Byrne putting in work here because he did. He actually does backgrounds and building
Yeah.
design. Yeah, so
I'll give
Yeah.
John Byrne credit. Like I like his design of Krypton. It's just not the real Krypton, but it's cool though. It's cool. And
not enough
so
green shirts.
exactly. So we see this like pod kind of ship flying towards this building. And then we see this guy gets out that apparently is Jarrell, but you wouldn't know
That's right.
by how he's dressed.
Jarrell.
But he starts talking to these floating robots and kind of explaining where he's been. A lot of exposition here. You basically find out that uh, that these robots have taken the Matrix to the third level laboratory, and so we don't really know what that is yet, right? And then Jarrell says to them, "Oh, and by the way, when Lady Lara calls, please guide her to me." And then the robots kind of have a conversation about, they it seems like everyone in Krypton is or it seems like Jarrell is distressed, and then the other robot says, "Yes, everyone in Krypton seems distressed, Kellor, but it is beyond the range of my programming to comprehend the cause." Right? So this is kind of hinting at, the classic idea that something's happening to Krypton and it's going to explode soon. So then we see Jarrell in his laboratory, and he's looking at this globe that's kind of like held up on this metal thing. And I don't know, should we describe Jarrell's costume so that the listeners know what we're talking about here?
Hey, go ahead, take a swing.
Okay, so it's kind of weird. So he has like basically a skin tight black suit that covers every square inch of skin on his body except his face. And then
in his hands.
Yeah, in his hands. And then he has like a green, almost like a cape on the front and the back that's kind of attached at the top. So it kind of hangs and just hides all of his features. It's just like a green thing. And then he has like a yellow sort of funky design on one side. And then he has these white frilly things on his arms. So
Yeah, I don't know
Floral
what
design.
those things are on his arms. It's kind of like Todd McFarlane saw this and goes, "Oh, I'm going to draw Spider-Man's webbings like what's on his arm."
Yeah. I mean, it's okay. It's not a bad design. I don't mind it, but
It's weird.
It's just not the classic Jarrell shirt.
Exactly. Yeah. So then this is where things start to go downhill. So then he looks at this globe and he's about to touch it. He's like, "My son." And then Jarrell, we see this woman off screen who apparently is Lara, who's freaking out because Jarrell asked one of his robot servants to take this matrix from the gestation chambers, and then Jarrell's like, "Well, I'm not entitled to, Lara. Kryptonian's law says that I can. I'm the child's father." And she's like, "That law has not been invoked for centuries. Are you crazy?" And then she's like, "And this is why you endanger the life of our unborn child." So the implication is supposed to be that the baby Jarrell or Kal-El is inside this thing, and it's technically not born yet. And I know that because I've read all the backstory. I don't know if that was really made clear here, but
Yeah, it's made clear.
is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But the big thing here is on Krypton, they don't make the sweet, sweet love. They just create their babies with science.
Right. Science. They use science.
Yeah, it's kind of like, what a sacrifice. You're giving away a baby you never even met.
Yeah.
Like I said, dystopian, right? But whatever. There's no sweet, sweet love. See? Anyway.
Yeah, but some people might enjoy that.
Yeah. Okay.
Demolition Man. Some people liked it that way.
Yeah. It seems like this Laura lady, she's fine with it. She doesn't have to touch Jarrell. She's like, "Oh, this guy's a creep."
He's like, "No, I love you." She's like, whatever. You're okay. Yes.
Yeah. Can we be friends? So then he's like, "Oh, and by the way, Krypton's gonna be destroyed, but our son's gonna survive, don't worry." And she's like, "What? Everything's gonna be fine." And he's like, No. And this is I actually really like this explanation, because as far as I know, this is the first time they came outright and said that the reason Krypton's being destroyed is because it's fusing into a radioactive element, which we assume is of course kryptonite, which makes perfect sense. Right?
I also like this. I also like this a lot. Because I guess everyone at Krypton's getting sick, what they're calling the creeping green or the green death or something, whatever they call it.
Right.
And basically, it's kryptonite poisoning. It's because their core is fusing into this forming kryptonite. So then, when the planet blows up, that kryptonite goes all across the universe, and Lex Luthor finds it every other week. And
Well, and that's the thing is, even in the old comics and the old radio shows, they'd always say, "Oh, if Superman gets exposed to a piece of his planet, then it weakens him." And I'm thinking, why?
Yeah,
Like
it makes no sense.
Someone
But
throws
here,
dirt at us, we don't get
Right.
weak.
but this explanation makes sense. So good
Right.
for you, John Byrne in DC.
Yeah, 1 point
Yeah.
for John Byrne. 1 point.
Yeah.
Okay,
This makes up for
Thank
that
you.
whole shirt fiasco.
exactly. Yeah, Shirtgate. We'll call it Shirtgate. Okay. So then,
You could have at least had a reason, like Jor-El needed, he was doing laundry that day or something.
exactly. Then I would forgive it. But anyway. So then Jor-El's like, actually, Krypton's going to explode in like an hour, so we don't have much time. And then this is where Lara starts explaining how Krypton cannot just be destroyed because we're the masters of everything. It only rains when we say it rains. Like we control everything about every aspect of our culture. And then Jor-El's like, well, you know, in the end, what have we achieved? Sterility, a cold and heartless society stripped of all human feelings, all human passion and life. And she's like, "You speak obscenities," right? So they're having this little argument here, and so we're kind of getting hints of what Krypton is like, and then basically, he's like, "Well, you know what? Our son is not going to be able to survive the explosion of this planet, but he can survive the journey through hyperspace in this ship that I've designed for him, right?" And she's like, and Lara's like, "What?" And so he's like, "Here, let me show you." Yeah, word for word.
And Laura's like, "Hey, wait a minute. Do you think
What?
I could survive this
Yeah,
trip through hyperspace?"
Yeah, you think, eh? So then,
He doesn't love her that much.
yeah, exactly. He's like, okay, I'm gonna show. I found this planet that's actually a lot like Krypton, in the past. Let me show you. So he shows her a picture of this guy.
Well, this
Looks like
confused the hell
Indiana
out of me.
Jones.
He also looks exactly like Superman without a
Yeah.
shirt.
Well, that's because
Yeah.
it's Byrne and all characters in John Byrne comics look exactly the same. But
It's
Yeah.
true.
He could have made him look slightly different, but yeah, this
Yeah.
is just Superman without a shirt.
true. And then when Lara sees this, she recoils. She's like, "Oh!" She freaks out, and
Well,
he's like, "What's
This is
wrong?"
great.
She's like, "That savage! He bears his naked flesh, his hairy flesh, bears it to the air. He touches unprocessed soil." What?
Basically, she got the vapors. She got horny for that Kansas.
Yeah,
That's what happened. She swam.
And then she was revolted by her, arousal.
that's
Yeah,
right.
for awakening.
That's right.
Yeah. So apparently everyone on Krypton is hairless, just everywhere.
That's
Could
true,
be.
yeah.
Yeah, plug up Brazilians. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then Jor-El's like, well, actually, on this planet, there's a yellow star, and it's gonna give our son more, all these powers and blah blah blah. And in time, he'll become the supreme being of that planet, almost a god. And so Lara's like, oh, so he will rule them and shape them to proper Kryptonian ways. And Jor-El's like, perhaps, but maybe not. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Yeah, Jor-El's hoping his son
Yeah, when we're
bangs some
dead.
ladies. He wants
Yeah.
him to be just go nuts.
Right.
Live out all his desires through his son. Yeah, live vicariously through him.
So then basically now the planet starts to like break apart, and he's like, okay, well, this is it, it's starting, so I'm gonna send this thing off into space. Now's the time. So he hits the button, the spaceship flies away, and it's like, and now this doesn't make sense. Then Lara's like, and so it must end, Jor-El, in fire and pain and badness, without my ever knowing the touch of my child's hand, which seems out of character. Which everything she just said about flesh and hair and nakedness, right? Like now all of a sudden she's worried because she didn't get to touch her son. But anyway,
Yeah.
that jumped out at me.
Contradictory.
Yeah.
You know what also is weird is that this little ship that he put the little Superman in, it can survive a planet exploding like 15 feet behind it. Because that planet is like exploding, and that ship is right there.
Well, it's going really fast. But anyway,
It's Black Widow movie logic.
yeah.
I'll take your word for it.
Oh, you haven't seen Black Widow? Okay, we'll talk about that later. Anyway, so then like Jor-El's like, even though we die, I'm content so long as we die together, for I have always loved you. And again, I've read this a million times, and I know the backstory of Krypton, but it did. I'm going to imagine, Jank and Mike Dell, did this hit you at all? The fact that is it implied enough? Like, is it explained that nobody really loves each other or has sex? Like, is it extensive
Yes.
enough? Okay.
Yeah, that's definitely how they painted it.
Yes, it's beating you over the head with it.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I'll say this: I think the fact that they do that makes me care a lot less about the people of Krypton. Like, it's not really that
Yeah.
emotional that this planet is dying because
Exactly.
they don't seem to
Yeah.
give a damn about anything.
Right.
So if they don't care, why do I
It's a
care?
cold, sterile society. Who cares?
Exactly. That's the whole thing with the old Krypton was like this utopia, right? Like, and it was sad because it was like a paradise planet that was destroyed, and now it's like, who cares about this crap hole, right? So I think that's a huge blunder on John Byrne's part. Whatever. Fine.
Yeah. Yeah. That undermines a lot.
We're
Exactly.
just getting started with the blunders.
Right. There's more blunders to come. Big blunder number 2 is about to come right here. So, as we know in the classic Superman, because we've all seen Superman the movie, we know that Clark Kent's supposed to be a nerd at high school. He's supposed to be hiding his powers, but sure enough, John Byrne, he wants to turn everything on its ears. So we start off this next chapter with Clark Kent scoring a touchdown on the football team because he is the star of the football team. He's Mr. Popular. All the girls love him. And I guess the idea is, I guess it's okay, fine. It's not just to be shocking. It's to show that this Clark Kent is not hiding his powers. He's using them, right? For like personal gain. So
Yeah, just to give the reader some perspective here, he's rushing for his 10th touchdown of the game.
Yeah.
Now, Michael, I know you're not familiar with American
is that
football.
a lot? Okay.
That's a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
like twice as much as a lot. Like, it's a whole bunch of touchdowns.
Yeah. He's overdoing it a little bit.
Yeah.
But at least he's not like super speeding down the field where it's like ridiculous. I guess he's at least trying to keep it within normal human means.
But
Yeah.
there are 3 guys hanging on him as he's crossing, or 2 guys, I guess. crossing.
Right.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, not doing a great job at this whole
and
secret.
keep in mind, we also learned that this is the last game of the season, the big championship. So he's been doing this all season.
Right.
He's been dominating these football games all season long. And just now, though, Uncle Ben, or what's his name? Oh, Papa Kent.
Pa Kent.
Just now, Pa Kent wants to pull him aside and tell him, "Hey, you should cool it."
Yeah, which I like to call bad writing. Because, like you said, why now? What made him decide?
Yeah.
Bad writing.
Yep. Or just convenience. Like they had to tell it at the end of the season. They couldn't do it at the beginning, so they're like,
Right.
it had to be this moment. So we're gonna condense it all.
Yep.
Pa Kent, by the way, looks like he's like a secret agent or something.
Yeah.
He's wearing a trench coat and a hat.
He looks like the guy in Raiders of the Lost Ark that burns his hand on the.
Yes.
ambulance.
Oh, right. Yes. What's funny is John Byrne actually drew the comic book adaptation of Raiders of the Lost Ark, so maybe he just used the same, model.
No, he didn't.
Didn't he? He drew one of them.
John Buscema did the.
Okay, well, John Byrne was in there somewhere because I'm positive he did some of them, some of the issues.
Maybe he did the cover.
No. I will research it, but I'll get back to you about that later.
Okay.
I know Buscema did the first. Because I remember reading it. Because what did we do? We did Indiana Jones, right?
We did a random issue of like the further adventures of Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, what were you gonna say?
I thought I found something, but I didn't.
All right.
Go ahead. No, it says right here. The Further Adventures of Indiana Jones, #1 by John Byrne, Terry Austin.
But the Further Adventures of Indiana.
Yeah, so it was
Raiders of the Lost Ark. Was John
Okay. You got me. Little tangent there, folks.
And by the way, the art that he does in that is so bad. It is so bad.
no.
I'm looking at it right now. It's not great. Yeah.
It is terrible.
Oof. Yeah, John Byrne is pretty bad.
Yeah, and here's the thing: is my when I was a kid, I loved John Byrne. Just for the record, I'll admit it. And I always thought that his decline started maybe around like Namor, when he did Namor, and it slowly started to go down. But the older I got, the earlier I placed his decline. Like then it was like, oh, maybe it was like She-Hulk. Maybe it was whatever.
I liked a lot of the stuff he did on She-Hulk.
It was okay, but even this is not. It's not as good as his early Fantastic Four, which was not as good as his X-Men. I still think his early X-Men was
Yeah.
Yeah, his X-Men stuff is tremendous.
That's
So
fantastic.
he was also writing Fantastic Four, right?
that's true. Yep.
Now,
And inking
I've
it.
never read any of them. Was it better than this? His writing?
Honestly, I think it was exactly the same. Yeah. So yeah.
Ringing endorsement.
Yeah, look forward to that. So anyway, I mean, you also read his Alpha Flight, right? Remember that?
Yeah, I mean, it was it was okay. It
Yeah,
wasn't the
exactly.
greatest.
Anyway, okay. Back to this.
So
Okay,
yeah,
so
Papa
yeah,
Kent is pulling him aside to say, "Hey, you got to knock the shit off. You can't
right.
keep running around
It's
like
like
that."
we have to talk now, Clark. Even though nothing is different today than has been happening the last year,
That's
we have to
exactly right.
talk now. So they get into this car, and you know, again, I've read this comic several times, and when I was a kid, I loved it. But the more I read it, the more I dislike it. And one of the reasons is that I just wish that they would show some of the stuff instead of having Pa Kent explain it all.
Yeah.
Ugh, it drove me crazy. You know,
Especially
remember
the
how
things that Clark already knows about his powers. Like, and then you
I
learned how
know.
to fly. It's like, you know, he
right,
knows this.
He even Byrne even has him say that line. But Paul, why are you telling us? I know all this. Yeah, we know
Oh,
you know all this.
Yep.
It's really
ugh,
bad.
yeah,
That's
it
rough.
drives me crazy. Anyway, so then he's like explaining, and then he brings him to this field, and then Clark's like, "This is the field you told me never to play in when I was a little kid." And he's like, "That's right. And I posted no trespassing signs all around, and I put up the nastiest barbed wire fence I could find." But anyway,
Because you have to explain why no one ever found this. So you have
right,
to put all that in there to explain why no one ever found this
right.
large plank wooden door in the middle of this field.
so so Superman lifts it up, and sure enough, it's his rocket ship, right? That it has like a kind of a burned hole in the front. And he's like, and Pa Kent's like, "This is where we found you." And he's like, "Found me?" Now, this is where it gets even more awkward because we've jumped from when Superman was a baby to now he's an adult. And then we flash back to when he was found, which, again, why didn't they just do it in chronological order? But whatever. Okay. I don't know. Anyway. So then we flash back to Pa and Ma Kent discovering the rocket ship, right? And you know, the famous scene that we've seen a million times, except this is a little different because it's not really like a rocket ship. It's like the globe kind of like melts open and there's a baby inside. Again, what is it sitting in? I have no. Is it like, I don't know what that is.
I think it's taffy. But
Yeah,
let me
happy.
just say,
Yeah.
Superman is not a handsome baby. Holy hell, no.
I know.
That is
He
John
looks like baby Lex Luthor.
Straw babies. Yeah, exactly.
one ugly baby.
Like
Holy hell.
the first shot of the baby's weird. What about that second shot? It looks like I don't know. It's even weirder. I don't know.
Yeah. None of it's very
Backside. Yeah, it's not very good. And so then,
Kent looks a lot like Heather Hudson.
Yes,
From
she
Alpha.
does.
good point.
An
Yeah,
older, slightly heavier Heather Hudson. Yep.
Yeah.
good point. And then, of course, look at that more convenient plotting. They're like, oh yeah, well, we decided to keep the baby, and that was when Mother Nature herself clinched the bargain. We'd no sooner pulled into the yard than the grandfather of all blizzards slammed down, and
This
it
is
was
great.
worst storm of the century, and we didn't get back into Smallville for 5 months. Huh? What a coincidence!
I know. Holy hell. Unbelievable.
Oh God.
The balls on John Byrne to write that. Unbelievable.
I know. And the thing is, Jake, you were
Terrible.
mentioning John Byrne's Spider-Man run, like Chapter 1 and all that.
Ugh.
I mean, everybody crapped all over that, but that was not. I mean, this is not that much better. You know, like the plotting in this is not good, in my opinion. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I know it's like,
That's
what
I
happens
mean,
when you let the artist write. This is what happens.
yeah.
yeah.
That's why I call John Byrne the father of Image Comics, because
Pretty
before
much.
Todd McFarlane and before Rob Liefeld were allowed to write their own comics, John Byrne did it first. So, okay.
I like that they then passed Clark off as their natural son that they had during this 5-month snowstorm, even though this kid's got black hair, looks nothing like them.
I
Like,
know.
nope, it's our son. Totally our son.
Good point. So yeah, we see some, kind of classic scenes of Superman or as a baby, like interacting with Lana, and then now then he gets run over by this bull, but he's not hurt. There's always going to be a scene like that in every Superman origin story, and that's fine.
I was
Lifting
rooting
up
for the
the
bull.
tractor.
Let me just say, I was rooting for
Oh
the bull.
yeah. And then here's another scene that could have this could have been such a magical scene, in E.T. Like I just watched E.T. again last summer, and when E.T. when Elliot and all those boys on the bikes, when they start flying, it actually brought like a lump to my throat. I was like, oh, this reminds me of being a kid again. The feeling I got. Like this is like a dream come true. Look at this. He's running along with his dog, bark, bark, and then all of a sudden he's standing over a ditch.
His dog tries to kill him.
No, he's floating.
Yeah.
He looks down and he's like, "Holy cow, I can fly!" I don't know. I thought that was terrible.
Well, his dog shoves
It
him
really
off a
is.
cliff. Pushes him right off a cliff. He's like, I can fly.
The dog's like, fuck. I thought I was rid of you.
Rid of this kid.
Bark, bark.
I need some kryptonite. Give me a kryptonite collar.
So yeah, then we cut back to like current day. Well, it's always current day, but we see Papa Kent talking to I was going to call him Clark, but I guess that's his name, right?
Yeah, Clark.
Yeah.
Like he's official. That's not just a name you picked up at the Daily Planet. No, he has it here.
Yep.
But yeah, so then Clark says, "But why are you telling me all this, Pa? I mean, most of it I know, except about this rocket ship."
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Not great. Not
What
great.
did Clark think was going on this whole time when he could
Yes.
fly?
I know.
Yeah,
I
what
know.
did they tell him? They show him as a little kid lifting up a car to get his ball from underneath it. He's literally flying.
I
He's
know.
running for 10 touchdowns a game in the high school. What? Yeah, what did they tell him this whole time?
Mm.
I don't know. Us Kent, just strong people, us Kents.
Yeah.
Oh, I got to
Harmless.
quickly interject here and say that one cool thing I didn't know until much later was that in the comics, Superman did not discover he came from Krypton until like a few years into his career. Like if he started at 38, I don't think he knew it until like 42 or 43. And that was the first time why are you laughing? It's great. The first time he encountered kryptonite. He was like, he like used his X-ray vision and looked into space to find out where it came from, and that's how he discovered that it came from Krypton, even though it was blown up. But anyway,
All right.
Yeah, that's weird.
I don't remember exactly how
From
it
that
took up,
hole.
but I thought it was cool.
But yeah, here, at least when he gets close to the ship, he starts getting weak because he's
Right.
like, oh, it's got the kryptonite on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a good little detail.
Yeah.
But then Papa Kent takes him home. He's like, oh, you're too soft to hear this. You need to give your balls a tug, Clark. Let's go. So,
But I gotta say, you keep saying Papa Kent. It's Pa. You gotta say Pa Kent. Pa and Ma.
I'm kind of doing it on purpose, Michael.
Oh.
Yeah, so then
It's a running joke. I didn't realize. Okay.
it's a bit. I'm doing a
It's
bit.
a bit. Okay.
So then
we
Papa
should-
Kent takes him home, and old Heather Hudson's there, and she's really old now, and she's like, "Oh, Clark, I love you so much. You're my baby boy, even though you're so ugly as a child." And what are we gonna do now? Now that you know you're a space monkey from outer space, what are we gonna do? And he says, "Well, I gotta leave town. I'm leaving tomorrow. I'm gonna go out and make my way in the world." I don't know.
Fuck high school.
Right, yeah.
I cheated to win that big game. I'm out. I'm taking off now. I did what I came for. So yeah, he drops out of high school and he leaves the next day. The end.
So then we get chapter 2, the
Chapter
exposure.
3. Oh, this is prologue. That's
Confused-
right.
yeah,
Chapter
it's so
2.
confusing. Yeah, it's chapter
Oh,
2.
good
It's so
lord.
weird. Why did they bother? But
Longest
anyway.
prologue in the history of prologue.
Right. So now we see that Ma Kent has been creating a scrapbook of all of Clark's, adventures over the past few years, because even like he's not Superman yet. He's just a guy that kind of, rescues people in secret. So, floodwaters diverted, bridge holds till last minute, diver saved as vessel refloats.
Let me just say that she's given Superman a lot of credit for things he probably didn't. You know what I mean? Like, anytime there's a disaster, she's just attributing it to Clark saving the day. When he's in Metropolis just banging hookers and doing blow.
Well, no,
And
it
meanwhile,
says,
she's giving him credit for
it
everything.
says right here, flying angel caught him as he fell. So I'm sure that these are all confirmed by Clark, but who knows?
I don't
You're right.
know.
He could just be banging hookers. You're right.
Yeah, because like diver saved as vessel refloats, sunken ship mysteriously rises to the surface. Like no angel mentioned there. Earthquake does no damage. Oh yeah, okay, he did that. Superman's responsible for that earthquake doing no damage.
Yeah. Bridge holds until the people are clear. That could have happened.
So anyway,
So
wow, look at all those eggs she's making. Holy hell! You see that
Yeah.
basket next to
Yeah,
her?
it's a lot of
Look at all
eggs.
those eggs. It's like Cool Hand Luke. She's going to eat 50 eggs. I don't think you can eat 50 eggs, Ma. I can too, Papa Kent. What's this?
So then Pa Kent is kind of worried. He's like, hey, if someone discovers this scrapbook, they're gonna be able to put 2 and 2 together and figure out that Clark is, doing all this. She's like, oh, it's just a collection of random stories. No one will know. And he's like, oh, really? What about this one? And there's a big front page article. It says, mysterious Superman saves space plane. So in other words,
before that panel, my girl, up above it, she says, besides, no one has uncovered my little secret in the 7 years since Clark left. So why should we worry? You just read your papers. Exposition.
Unnecessary. Yep.
John
And then Ma Kent's like, creak, creak. Oh, she's like, Clark's room. She hears a creak, creak upstairs. So now they know someone's up there. So Pa Kent goes up with, is that a bat? What is that?
I think it's an axe handle.
Oh, okay. So he goes up and opens up the door, and Superman's sitting there in the dark. And I didn't quite get why he was so bummed out about this, but
This is terrible.
they wanted a piece of me, Pa. They all wanted a piece of me. And he explains the story about how there was a space plane that was flying through the air that got hit by another plane, even though that would never happen. But okay. I don't think it would happen anyway. And then so it's going down, it's going to crash. And then Clark Kent, wearing slacks and like a jacket, decides, well, you know what? Even though I'm trying to keep my identity secret, I'm going to rescue this plane anyway. There's not enough time to keep it a secret. So he just flies up, rescues the plane, then just talks about how he sees this girl, Lois Lane, and even though she's not as beautiful as a movie star,
that's my favorite part. Just imagine when they get together one day and like Ma Kent's like, hey, when Clark met you, he didn't think you were better than a 5.
Yeah.
He said
he was not.
He said you had a great personality.
Yeah.
But let me say this though. I think John Byrne draws her really well.
Yeah,
I like Lois Lane.
Yeah,
Foxy.
Good. Yeah, he knows how to draw attractive women. That's for sure. Yes.
Apparently not to Clark Kent. He's like, no.
As a baby, no.
Like?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I thought you meant he can't.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, to him, he's not that good looking at all.
Right. So Clark is basically upset that they all wanted a piece of him. I don't know what he's talking about. As if he's like some rock star and they're chasing him down the road or something. Like he's the Beatles.
Well, it kind of were.
Yeah, this huge crowd of people surrounded them, and they're like, "Oh, you're so awesome! You saved that plane." And he
they wanted him to do other jobs and endorse products and shit.
Yeah, and then he's like, it was as if my first public appearance had unleashed the worst, the greediest, the most covetous part of everyone, because that's the way people talk. But anyway, and so he's like, I don't know how I'm going to deal with this. And then Pa Kent's like, I think I do. He's got an idea, right? And then look at that. Is it chapter 4? Nope, it's epilogue.
It's the epilogue.
Superhero. I have to point out something else this very important information to know, that in previous pre-crisis Superman comics, Superman had an indestructible cape, okay? And the idea was that his skin was super hard, and that's why he was impervious to bullets and other,
and also, Michael, the cape, I believe, was the blanket that he was wrapped in as a baby.
Yes, right. You're right. In fact, I'm pretty sure his whole costume was sewn out of that, but I could be wrong. But now John Byrne's, nothing, no explanation is good enough for John Byrne, so he's got to change it. So now what it is apparently Superman has a force field around his skin that's almost, skin tight. But if he wears clothes, the clothes somehow go inside the force field and they're protected. Does that make any sense to anyone?
No. Nope. But there's a part where after Ma Kent, she sews up the costume for him, and she says, "That's good. The fit is nice and snug. I started noticing when you were only 12 years old, the cloth right up close against you never seemed to tear or get dirty. Besides, it shows off your muscles." Man, John Byrne, what the fuck?
I know.
Yeah.
And then
that bull ran him over. Clothes got all torn up then.
Good point.
That's right. That is true. Yeah, the bull stomped the
Look
hole.
at that. You're right. Plot hole.
Well, she did say when you were 12 years old, so maybe that was.
Oh,
So
okay.
he didn't develop this power until.
That was
He
part of
didn't.
puberty.
Yeah, he didn't develop this power over clothing to make it impervious until later on.
So then basically Superman or Clark Kent suits up with his costume with a logo that he and Pa Kent have designed. And then he's like, from now on, whenever there are people who need my very special kind of help, it won't be a job for plain, ordinary Clark Kent. It'll be a job for Superman. And then we see this shot of Superman flying away from the house.
Thankfully, that's the end of
Now,
it.
I thought in most versions, the S symbol was like a Kryptonian symbol.
Yeah.
Here it's
Honestly,
just an S for Superman.
I think that idea was introduced in the movies, as far as I know.
Oh.
I think before that, it was literally just an S that stood for Superman. Yep. And
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Michael.
I was gonna say there's one more little thing that I kind of like missed when I was going over the plot. But
Yeah.
on page, hold on here, where is it? Where is it? On digital page 19. I'm not sure if you have pages, Kevin. But did you guys notice at the bottom of page 19 when the car is driving away that there's a dark figure in the foreground?
I don't even know what car we're talking about.
Okay, so after Superman gets sick from the kryptonite and Pa Kent leads him away and they get in the car and drive away.
Okay.
There's a figure at the bottom. There's someone watching them.
Oh yeah.
See?
It was like Pa Kent's brother.
Right. So then if you go to the last
Wearing the
page,
same outfit.
Yeah.
the last page we just were where Superman's flying, the big splash page, if you look in the barn, there's a guy standing in the barn.
I don't know.
And they reveal who it is later. And I think it's a guy that figures out that Clark Kent is Superman. And basically, it just comes back as a subplot later on.
But who is he?
Oh.
Who is it?
Yeah.
I can't remember who it is, but I don't know. I think it's an unnecessary subplot for an origin story, but that's just me.
Michael, is it Beppo?
It's not Beppo's. Nope.
Hey, we also skipped over the part where Pa Kent has a great idea how to disguise him when he's
Right. Which is fine. You want me to go back?
Well, well, we see Clark combing his hair in the mirror and puts on glasses, and Pa Kent says, "See, Ma, with his hair all slickered back and an old pair of my spectacles, his whole face seems to change. All he needs to do is stoop a tad, and he looks like a whole different man. And so long as he's careful never to let on that he has two separate identities, he'll be able to move freely like ordinary folks." Thanks, Papa Kent.
I think it's
must be his part of his power over clothes, where if he puts glasses on, it somehow changes his face.
Yeah, he looks totally different. All right.
I can accept that. I don't mind that.
I don't need him explaining it like that.
Okay. Okay.
Come on, John.
Yeah.
Anyway. By the way, just so you know, the guy who was watching him from the barn, his name is Emmett Vale.
He's very good.
He's my favorite.
Yeah. Emmett Vale. Who canceled?
Vicky Vale's ne'er-do-well brother.
Yeah. All right, so there it is.
Woo!
Superman Man of Steel #1. Holy fuck, Jank, what'd you think?
I didn't think it was terrible. I thought a lot of the retcons didn't work, but the thing about the kryptonite was cool, so that's fun. It looked good. I liked it for the most part.
Yeah, the art's strong. Again, this is pretty good, solid John Byrne art.
Yeah.
Dick Giordano on the inks is always great. The rating is
version of Superman's very good.
The plot is terrible. The dialogue, everything written is terrible. Could have definitely used more Beppo. But yeah, it was just very boring and like none of it was interesting at all. So
see, I like the origin of Superman, so I'm never against hearing it again.
Really?
There you go. There you go.
I've heard it
Kevin
once,
Jank.
I'm good. I've heard it. I've heard it once. I don't need to hear it again. I don't need to see another Spider-Man movie where they talk about his origin. We've done it once. We don't need it again. Yeah, not a fan of this, Michael. Now Now, Michael, you said you read this so many times. Now, as an adult, a grown man, when you're reading this, what do you think?
Well, I can tell you, I grew out of this when I was 25, let alone 45. Okay?
Well, that's
Like I loved this as a kid. I thought, oh, this is the definitive Superman, and John Byrne's the greatest, and blah blah blah. And then one day, I remember I was reading John Byrne's Hulk run. Have you guys ever read that?
no.
Yeah, John Byrne.
I don't think so.
It's 6 issues of Hulk, and I remember reading it when I was around 25ish, and I thought I could not believe how bad it was. And it was one of those like eye-opening moments, like, oh my god. And I looked at my John Byrne collection, I'm like, please God, tell me they're not all that bad. Sure enough, I started rereading my Supermans and they were all that bad. So that's when I got rid of all my John Byrne comics right around that time. So
Wow.
yeah, I agree with everything you said, Mike Dell. I think I mean, I'm not a huge John Byrne fan, but this art is fine. I'm not as big a fan of Dick Giordano as you are, but the art's fine. The layouts are good. The storytelling's clear. But like you said, it's like everyone knows Superman's origin, and there's a better way to, even if you're going to change it, there's a better way to do it than just having explaining everything. Like
Yes.
they could have taken the same amount of pages. Like the Action Comics #1, they have Superman's origin on one page. And this issue, it's 37 pages, and they do it completely wrong. You know, like whatever. There's a million ways they could have done it, and this is not one of the good ones. To put it that
Well,
way.
that kind of became the norm of, as time went on, it only went longer in telling the origin stories. Like Ultimate Spider-Man probably took the first 6 issues before he really became Spider-Man.
Totally right. Yep. Oh, and I didn't like that either. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. And one other thing, the space plane, I got to point out, originally this was written and drawn as a space shuttle, but then when the Challenger exploded, they had to change it to a space plane. But I personally, I love Superman the movie, and one of the things I like is everything in the movie except Superman is very grounded. So when he rescues Lois Lane, it's from a helicopter. But the fact that this is this fantastical looking space plane, I think kind of ruins it, takes me out of it, you know?
You know what else is weird is, I don't know if you mentioned this, but so you mentioned like another plane hit the space plane, and that plane stuck to the space plane.
Yeah.
Well, it tore it open and then got wedged in there.
So he just had to save the one big space plane, and he saved both of them. But I think that was just, it seems like a weird thing to do. Like, why not just have the space plane having problems?
I agree. You're right.
Yeah.
Good point.
This seems so weird.
That probably would have made more sense.
Yes. Because then it just seemed like, well, he's not going to be able to save both planes. So, you know what? Let's just have them stick together. I don't know.
See, and it's also funny. I don't know if you know about this, but DC has been, trying to break into back into the mainstream comic market by having comics published in Walmart and stuff like that. And they're fairly successful, but I guess recently they've started reprinting John Byrne's Superman. And now you understand how hard it is for me, Mike L, to sell Superman to the public. Because every time I tried, this is what DC gives us. They give us John Byrne, they give us Denny O'Neil, Kryptonite Nevermore. And it's that's why my theory is that Superman has not really been good since 1966. Even though he's my favorite character. But
yeah. Anyway. Like you said, there hasn't been much better since then. Although, here's the era where Superman got electrical powers and stuff like that. No.
The only good ones are All-Star Superman, and then Grant Morrison's second run, and then anything Alan Moore did. But there's only 3 of them. So other than that, it's all mediocre, I think.
Michael wants to marry Alan Moore.
I would.
He loves Alan Moore.
I would.
All right. So, hey, one other thing about the Superman, Michael. Oh, I'm sorry. I talked over you, Jank. I missed the joke. What was the joke?
He'd work his sex magic on you.
Oh. Yeah. Alan Moore does love his sex magic. So, Michael, when I was reading this, I was like, I had a Superman book that wasn't this when I was a kid, and I think it was Krypton Chronicles.
Oh, yes.
And I looked it up, and it was 1981, so it was pre-Crisis.
Right.
And
I have that.
It was just telling in the backstory about Krypton. Is that what it was?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm looking up right now. It was written by E. Nelson Bridwell and drawn by Kurt Swan and inked by Frank Chermonte. and it was basically the pre-crisis history of Krypton.
All right. So 1 out of 10, what would you give this, Kevin Jank?
I'd probably give it a 5. It had its flaws, but it wasn't terrible. I didn't hate myself for reading it.
See, I thought it
Like I
was
did with
terrible,
Wolfpack.
and I did hate myself for reading it. But the art is pretty strong, so I'll go 3. And by the way, when I was going through the other issues, like just look at the covers, I did flip through and read a bit more. And yeah, it doesn't get better. It doesn't get better.
Oh, even once Lex Luthor shows up, nothing.
Lex Luthor has red hair, and like
Yeah,
Well, he did. Yeah, he originally had
Right
red
on
hair
the
on the
ball.
comics. That's why.
yeah.
it's weird. And
You just hate gingers.
and this take on Bizarro is also kind of weird. Like Bizarro is made in a lab or something.
Yeah, I feel like they've done that a lot.
I don't. All right, Michael, just say you're giving it a 10, and let's move on.
No, man, no. Okay, by typical comic standards, it's probably a 5, but by Superman standards, it's like a 3 because it's
Oh,
you know,
wow.
it's like offensive, right? And so
Oh, okay.
it loses marks for that. But I don't. I agree. I'm like Jake. I don't hate it. Like, it's easy to read. Like we've read some terrible. I've read so
This
many
is terrible.
comics.
I hate it.
Oh my god! They tried
Right, I
to-
should take it down one number.
Yeah.
Give it a 4 because of the shirt thing.
Yeah, you're right. See, there you go. But if you want to read terrible, go read Defenders by J.M. DeMatteis. Like there are some bad comics. Like this is not bad. It's just so mediocre.
Michael, I'm the guy who read Mr. Miracle with you, and
that was way better.
Sandman.
Than this. Ah, you're gonna compare this to Neil Gaiman? Are you kidding me? Oh my god.
All right. So what are you giving it, Michael? 5 or 3?
Okay, I'll give it a 4. I'll give it a 4.
All right. So 3, 4, and 5. Well,
There you
Jank, I'm disappointed that you gave 5. But all right. Anyway. All right. So,
Wait. One more question, Jank. Where does this compare to the Superman 223 that we read last time?
It's probably worse. Yeah, I would say.
Yeah, I would agree. It is worse. Yep.
I
Yep.
would agree as well. Yeah, I don't even remember a damn thing about that 223, but yeah, this is worse.
It's kind of a similar thing where he was dealing with a plane. I remember that. Like, when are we going to get to see Superman fight some?
I can't remember at all.
It's like, yeah, there was some kind of a plane that was the big thing he had to deal with.
I blocked that out of my memory. All right. Well, maybe I'll give my next issue after we do our little tribute here for the 100 issues, or 100 episodes. We like to call them issues.
Yeah.
100 episodes of Flea Market Fantasy. Michael, you've been putting together a database
That's
of all the
right.
stats. And tell the kids what you've been doing.
I've been compiling stats that I have calculated by researching stuff on Launchpad, YouTube, and some other things. And I've come up with a few interesting numbers if you'd like to hear them.
Yes.
Okay.
So
So
you also did like a creator database, right, as well? And
yes, I did. Okay, I guess the first one we should talk about. Actually, I don't even have this one open. Let me just get to it right now. But the first one I did, and I did it a few weeks back, was I compiled a list of which guests have been on our show more than anyone else, right? And I'm sure that no one will be surprised to learn that our 2 number 1 guests. I mean, Mike Dell, you might as well tell them because you know who they are.
yeah, Miles Watson and Kevin Jank are now tied at 7 apiece.
That's right.
Yeah, suck it, Miles Watson. Episode 100. What do you got, Mister? I was on episode 97. Where's that going to get you?
That's right. No one remembers 97.
Right.
100, yeah.
See how much trim that gets you.
More than the people of Krypton. I'll tell you that much.
It's true.
But
So I've got.
who's second? Jolie at 5.
Oh, it's funny because now I can't open the damn database. But it's like saved somewhere, but it's not a different database. But I don't think Jolie. I think Jolie was 4. Maybe I'm wrong though, because I tweeted it out. If I could find my tweet, it'd be in there too.
Well, I think our buddy Pork Carrot, Bob, he's been on 5 times, right? At least.
I think so. Yeah.
Jolie 5. Brandon was on 3 times. This would have been 4. But
Wow, I spent all those hours on that database, and now I can't even open it. But we'll see. Wait,
Password protected it too hard.
Okay, I have another one. I'll get to that one later, but I have a whole bunch of other little stats here if you guys like to hear them.
Yes.
So when we talk about creators, now this could be a writer or an artist. Do you guys have a guess of what writer we have covered more than any other writer?
I'll let Jank guess first.
Okay, Jank, do you have a guess?
Roy Thomas.
Good guess. Good guess. But Roy Thomas, we've only covered 5 times.
Oh,
And
We talk about him a lot because
Right.
he's always like
Yes.
the editor, but
that
he's
name
always
does come up
involved.
a lot.
And just so you know, tied with 5 appearances each are Roy Thomas, Chris Claremont, John Byrne, Len Wein, Dick Giordano, and Bill Mantlo. Okay.
So someone's more than that?
Yes, if you can believe it. At 6 times each, we have Klaus Janson as an inker.
Yeah. See, I'm only thinking writers and artists.
Okay.
Yeah.
But George Perez, we've done 6 times.
Yeah, but what about writer though? Just writer.
Okay, just right. Well, what? Just because you're an English major?
No, I want to know.
Okay.
Oh, you said. Yeah, the question was which writer.
Okay. At 6 appearances is David Michelini.
Really, David
But
McCullough?
there's more that are higher. Don't worry. There's more. At 7 appearances, Marv Wolfman.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. And then our top artist at 8 appearances is none other than our pal, Sal
Yeah.
Buscema.
Yeah, I knew it was Sal.
I figured as much. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so
then here we go, folks. Drum roll. The number 1 writer at 8 appearances is none other than Jerry Conway. It's just like crickets.
Jerry Conway. Hey,
I
are you
kind of
sure
see
you're
that. I
counting
guess.
this properly?
Oh, I
guess.
counted it right, but I think what you're forgetting, Mike Dell, is those many anthologies we did, like Christmas
Oh,
Heroes and the Flash
that's
Spectacular.
cheating. That's cheating.
Oh no. Jerry Conway was in all of those. That's why. So
Yeah,
if you don't want to count those, you'd probably have to say Marv Wolfman. But anyway, not Roy
All
Thomas.
right. Michael, I did find some of our messages where we were tweeting about the guests,
Okay.
how many times they were on, and like this was like an early list that got revised. But yeah, Poor Carrot was at 5, Jolie was at 5, Cousin Brandon 3, Larry 2, Becca and Tuffy 1 each.
There you go. That's pretty much all of our
Yeah.
guests, right? Yeah.
Well, you had your other buddy who came on for Deathlock.
Kevin
Yeah.
Morris. Kevin Morris. Yeah. Came
And
on.
I think that's everybody.
Yeah, that's everybody. You're right. Okay, we got more stats here, folks. You want to hear them?
Absolutely.
Okay. Take a guess, Kevin Jank. What character have we covered more than any other character?
Oh, for God's sake.
Ooh. I'm gonna say to Mike Dell's chagrin, Batman.
Yeah! 5 appearances, Batman. I'll just tell you the rest, okay? At 2 appearances each, Hulk, Thor, Flash, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, Spider-Man. 3 appearances each, Avengers and Justice League. 4 appearances, Superman. And you know who picked all those, right? That's right.
Well, Michael, you forgot Daredevil at 2.
Daredevil's 2? Okay.
Yeah.
You got me. Look at
Captain
that.
America, if you count like his appearances in the Avengers.
Well, I tried not to count team appearances towards a single person's appearance.
You mean we've read 5 Batman and you don't even count the Justice League stuff?
No, because again, you're forgetting Christmas with the Superheroes 1 and 2, Brave and the Bold, Batman Special, and an issue of Batman.
Good
That's
Lord.
5.
Plus Justice League.
And
6.
this is the saddest news of all. Mike Dell with only 1 appearance. Snurl, remember him?
No, I don't.
That Alex.
What the fuck is Snurl?
That Alex Toth backup story in one of those anthologies. Snurl, remember?
Yeah, I didn't read that.
We learned all about humanity. Anyway.
Yeah.
What about Pie Face? Only one for him, I think.
I know,
Right. 1 for 5 days. Okay, so here we go, folks. Now talking about data as far as like where, like numbers and all that stuff. Okay. The number 1 countries in the world that we are listened to in are from 5
Denmark.
to 1.
Fuck
5
Denmark.
is Australia, 4 is Canada, 3 is Germany, 2 is France, and 1 is the United States of America.
Wait a minute. France is
We're
ahead
number
of Canada?
1.
Yeah, can you believe that?
Michael, you're a Canadian.
I know. That's funny. My friends don't even listen to the show.
I don't know anyone in France.
Neither do I. Well, hey, maybe we're like, the Jerry Lewises of, Comic book podcast. I don't know.
That I could see.
Yes. Okay, now check this out. This is crazy. The top cities that were listened to in the entire world. Are you ready for this? I haven't even heard of some of these. Number 5 is Flemington, New Jersey. Okay.
Wait, what? New Jersey?
Flemington, New Jersey.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you know someone from Flemington?
No, I do not.
Okay. Number 4 is Chicago, Illinois.
Oh, Tuffy.
There you
Jack.
go. There you go. Those are 2. Number 3 is Pittsburgh.
Hey, Larry and me.
Oh,
There you go.
Our buddy
number
Lance Miller. I think he
2
was.
is
could be.
Irwin. Wait, so Irwin, Pennsylvania. Who's in Irwin?
Oh, that's probably me because
Okay.
I'm close to Irwin. Irwin's probably like 10 minutes from Greensburg, but
Okay.
usually they don't count Greensburg on like internet stuff. It's usually counts as Irwin. So
So
yeah.
you're telling me that you on your own make it number 2 of all the
Yeah.
cities? Oh, that's embarrassing. But anyway, check this out. You're not going to believe this. And pardon my French, but the number 1 city in the entire world for flea market fantasy listeners is Ivry-sur-Seine, France.
wow.
We've got to find out who's there.
I had no idea we were so big in France.
Yeah, isn't that
You guys
funny?
got to go do a live show over there.
Yeah.
Michael, are there any like French superheroes we could pick in honor of our French friends?
I'm sure there's 1 or 2. We'll have to
You do a Captain America where he fights Batroc the Leaper.
There you go, back to the Reaper. Okay. My friend, and part of my French, I know I'm Canadian, but I don't really speak French, so that's why I butchered that pronunciation. But anyway, okay, so now we've got this is the funnest part of my list, okay? I'm going to give you our highest and lowest rated episodes we've ever done, okay?
Like, what does that mean? Rated?
Well, okay, first we're going to talk about length, okay? This doesn't really affect quality, but the shortest episode, well, maybe.
Well, I was going to guess. Like, can I guess?
Yeah, guess. Go ahead.
I think the shortest. Early on, we were doing kind of short episodes. I think that Brave and the Bold was only like 33 minutes.
Look at this guy, 34 minutes, Brave and the Bold.
Oh.
How did you know? Yep.
And then I think our longest. I know with Jank when you're on. I don't know if it was the Hulk. We've been over an hour and a half.
That was a long one. That could be.
I think the longest is like an hour and 41 minutes.
Okay, guess what? Longest episode we ever did, number 69, with special guest Kevin Jank.
Yeah.
X Factor number 10. It was 109 minutes long. So it's almost
a lot of minutes.
hours. Yeah.
Yeah, an hour. That's an hour and 49 minutes. I said an hour and 41, so I was close.
How did we talk about X Factor for that long?
Without going over?
I think because we were talking about the Mutant Massacre and all the crossovers
Yeah.
and stuff,
Okay.
giving all the backstories on the Marauders, I think.
Right. Okay. So now, we're gonna talk about lowest amount of downloads. Kevin Jank, why don't you take a guess? What has the lowest amount of downloads on Spotify for Flea Market Fantasy of any episode?
Let's see.
There's a lot to choose from.
Yeah, I don't know.
At 99, they'd all be correct.
Is it Amethyst?
That would have been my guess. That would have been my
Yes,
guess.
but it's Alpha Flight, Mike Dell's pick.
Michael, what is going
Episode
on with
47.
Canada, Michael? That should have been like a banner episode in
I don't
Canada,
know.
yet no Canadians are even listening. I
Should've
think
done
because your countrymen hate you, Michael. They
Could be.
hate
Could be.
Yeah.
what's going on.
So that was
Spitting
our-
right in your mouth.
So that was our lowest rated downloaded episode. Now we're going to jump to highest rated, okay? Now, for some reason, the numbers are different on Launchpad and YouTube. But again, Kevin Jank, we'll give it to you. Would you like to guess our highest rated episode or highest downloaded, whatever you want to call it, on YouTube?
Ooh, I'll say episode 1, and then everyone just tuned out afterwards.
Okay, our highest rated episode on YouTube is none other than number 38 featuring Aquaman. My pick again.
What?
Yes. Isn't that interesting? Anyway. Okay,
Standards.
so now we got Launchpad. I had to list my top 3 just because there's something interesting about each of these 3, okay? So number 2, I'm going to go out of order here. Our number 2 highest downloaded episode on Launchpad is the same one, number 69, X Factor with Kevin Jank. Our third highest episode is none other than number 74, featuring Starman. Hold on.
Oh,
Yeah, the
jeez.
one with the purple shirt. Yeah, see? Look at that.
Probably all those people in France. They
Yeah.
love
They love purple shirts.
Lord.
There you go. Okay, now you ready for our number one downloaded episode of all time on Launchpad? Kevin Jan, can you guess this one?
Mm,
Haven't mentioned this character once yet. That's a hint.
what is it?
What's that?
What did you say?
We haven't mentioned this character at all today. Like, it's not one of the ones. It's not Superman. It's not Batman. Any of those characters. So
Luke Cage.
nope. Number 81, featuring the Punisher. That was our most popular episode. Yep. Isn't that funny?
It's cool.
So yeah, that is pretty much my database.
Oh, good job, Michael.
Thank you. So yeah, knowing that there'll be a lot more appearances of Aquaman, a lot Starman. So
Yeah, we got to give the French what they love.
exactly.
All right. All right. Now let's do the. This is going to be our longest episode, but let's do the FLEA
Yeah.
Award.
New winner for longest.
Yep.
Again, I had nothing to do with these nominations and winners. It's just the Academy. I just report the results. Now, to be eligible for an award, we have 8 categories.
I'm gonna contact your accounting firm. Make sure these are on the.
That's right. And to be eligible for an award, you had to be featured in one of the first. Well, I was going to say 99 issues, but it's all right. We can assume that there were no award winners in this issue that we did here today.
Okay.
But the Academy did send along a note that said that all pretentious emo douchebags were ineligible. So sorry, Neil Gaiman and Alan Moore. Maybe
Who said
next
that?
time.
Miles Watson?
It's the Academy, not me,
Okay.
Michael. My hands are clean.
Okay.
But they were not eligible for the award. All right, so our first FLEA category is Best Monkey. Best Monkey.
Of course.
All right. The nominees are from Fantastic Four 171, Gore.
All right.
Yeah. Or maybe I should give the names first. Our second nominee, Gorilla Grodd from Flash Spectacular.
Yeah, he gets my vote.
Psychic Monkey.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Psychic Monkey. He was trying to manipulate time and everything. And for those who don't remember Gore, he was the giant gold monkey who came down to Earth to warn everybody that Galactus. He was a hero, Gore. This Gore. He was a hero. Then the third and final nominee, there's only 3 monkeys, so there's only 3 monkeys. Ultra Humanite. Justice League 96.
Yeah.
Ultra
Awesome.
Humanite. And the FLEA goes to Gore. Fantastic.
Oh,
71.
who the hell voted for this? Oh my god.
A giant golden monkey. It doesn't get better than that. Gore. Congratulations, Gore. Accepting this award on behalf of Gore. Beppo. Come on up, Beppo. All right. The next category, Best What the Fuck Moment. Best What the Fuck Moment. All right. The nominees, Adventure Comics number 418, Dude on Big Bicycle. Do you remember this?
Wait, what was it again?
Adventure Comics 418.
Oh
Dude
yes,
on
Dr.
Bicycle.
Midnight, of course.
For those who don't remember,
episode.
there is this guy named Mervis, and Dr. Midnight was beating up some of his lackeys, and out of nowhere, Mervis runs over Dr. Midnight with a bicycle that has a little wheel in the back and a giant wheel in the front. And it just comes out of nowhere. And it was
Awesome.
amazing.
Yes.
It's so great.
That better win.
Number 2, the second nominee, Amethyst, Princess of Gemworld, issue 1. The attempted rape of Amethyst, Princess of Gemworld.
Yikes. Yes. Yeah.
A book for little girls about gems features an attempted rape of a little girl. All right.
Hey, Bill Cosby was a prolific writer back then.
Nominee number 3, Christmas with the Superheroes, issue 2, Superman, male prostitute. Remember this? He came up to the car and he's like, "Hey, I can warm me up." Remember that?
Oh, right. Right, yeah.
So weird. Next, Nick Fury and his Howling Commandos, issue 98. the card trick. Right in the middle of fighting the Nazis, they
That's
bust
right.
out a card trick. Right in the middle.
Right.
Oh, amazing. And our final nominee for best what the fuck moment from Wolfpack issue 1, Wheels pretending to be asleep.
Yes.
That's
I
right.
love
That's
that
right. Oh my God, that's right.
Wheels wanted to eavesdrop on these drug dealers, so he just wheeled up to their cafeteria table, parked his wheelchair, and pretended to be asleep.
Forgot about that.
No one questions it.
And the FLEA goes to Adventure Comics 418.
Yeah.
Dude on a big bicycle.
Woo!
That was just
Service.
so amazing. Yeah,
That was
congratulations, Mervis.
Yeah.
Michael, make sure Bex Luthor knows that Mervis won. She was a big
All right.
fan.
I'll let her know.
All right, next up, Best Villain. Best
Okay.
Villain. And the nominees are Crack from Wolfpack issue 1.
But at least it can't kill you.
Yeah.
Exactly. But it is a villain. King Cadaver, Jungle Action 10. Oh, remember King Cadaver?
Oh yes, I remember. Yep.
He's, for those who don't remember, he's this guy with a giant, big, green, moss-covered head.
That's right.
Solomon Grundy, All-Star Squadron 3.
Yeah.
Man,
Classic.
Yeah. Stiltman from Black Goliath 4.
Right.
Because when you're thinking of the pantheon of great villains, it's like Doctor Doom, Red Skull, Stiltman. That's
Yeah, for sure.
Stiltman. Ultra Humanite, Justice League 196. We have our first repeat nominee. Nominated for Best Monkey and Best Villain. So congratulations already, Ultra Humanite. But the FLEA goes to Ultra Humanite, Justice League 196.
Woo! Awesome villain.
If it's one thing I love, or I'm sorry, if it's one thing the Academy loves, it's a monkey with a plan.
Yeah.
And Ultra Humanite had a great plan to round up them superheroes and beat them all. So congratulations, Ultra Humanite, taking home the FLEA. Congratulations. All right, next up, Best Hero. First nominee, Black Panther, Jungle Action 10. He's a good guy, that Black Panther. He's beating up zombies. He had to beat up King Cadaver. Good stuff. Next up, Dakota North. Dakota North.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. Sassy detective. Called everybody toots.
Yeah.
Howard the Duck. Howard the Duck, issue 8.
Woo!
He took on corrupt politicians in the American political system.
That's right.
Yeah.
Good,
Remember
good
you
man.
loved that issue.
Yeah. The Human Fly. Human Fly, issue 1. The Academy did not know the Human Fly existed until reading that book, and the Academy loves the Human Fly now. So,
Everybody loves the human fly.
he got famous for being strapped to the top of an airplane.
I concur. That's one of our best episodes. But anyway.
Yeah, the real story behind the Human Fly is fascinating.
Yeah.
Yes.
It really is.
Yeah. And the final nominee for Best Hero, Signal Man, Justice League 196.
What the hell?
Because Signal Man beat the hell out of Batman. So
All
yeah,
right.
Signal Man.
Oh, I forgot about that. Wow.
But technically, he didn't beat up. He hypnotized the common folk to beat up Batman. But at the end of the day, Batman got beat up, and it was Signal Man who did it. So he's a hero in my book. Oh, I'm sorry, the Academy's book.
Yeah.
Signal Man, best hero. And the FLEA goes to Black Panther, Jungle Action 10. I think,
Really?
I think he was the best hero we covered. He
Okay.
was a statesman. He fought a big crocodile, remember, or the big alligator. He fought the big alligator. He's fighting zombies. Fought King Cadaver. That's all you can ask for in a hero. I think. Congratulations to Black Panther. All right, we're halfway home. Wow, it's taking a while. All right, best cover. Best cover. The nominees are Dazzler 28, Bill Sienkiewicz.
Hell yeah.
Hey, Jank, you were here for that one. Remember that?
Yeah.
That was a good one. Yeah.
Indiana Jones 11, Carrie Gamble.
Yeah, it was okay.
Okay. It was correct.
It was okay.
Indiana Jones hanging off the bell tower, the big guy punching the master class in perspective right there. Jungle Action 10, Gil Kane. Classic Gil Kane.
Oh yeah, that was good. Yep.
Machine Man #1, Barry Windsor Smith.
Oh yeah, for
That's
sure.
just a close up of the Machine Man face. And I should mention Jungle Action 10. It had Black Panther standing over some defeated enemies, all beat up, with the big panther in the background and a solid red background color. Good stuff. And then the final nominee, Secret Wars 1, Mike Zeck, the Iconics.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
nothing can
that
beat
is a
that.
good one.
I will say this: the only thing I don't like about that is it always looks like Wolverine has a mustache. Notice that? He looks like he has a little French mustache.
Never noticed that. Nope.
All right, and the flea goes to Gil Kane, Jungle Action 10.
Woo! All right, love me some Gil Kane.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that was the best cover by far. I'm sorry, the Academy thought that was.
Look this one up.
Best. Oh, you don't remember? Oh, that's a really good cover. Best writer. The first nominee,
Neil Gaiman.
Mike W. Barr, Batman Special 1. And the Academy sent along a note saying he was only included to throw Mike Ella bone.
It's all ceremonial.
The Academy had troubles with this issue, but the Academy also had a real problem finding 5 really well-written issues of the 100. And at least this one had a clever idea about the other guy who was his parents were killed by cops, right, Mike?
I think so. Yeah.
And then he became bad, like Batman. Right. So at least it's a clever idea. Steve Gerber, Howard the Duck 8.
For sure.
Don McGregor, Jungle Action 10.
Yeah, not bad.
Roger McKenzie, Daredevil 161. This was an early one, issue 3.
He's
People
okay. Yeah, he's okay.
Daredevil versus Bullseye in an amusement park. Good stuff.
Yeah.
And Roger Stern, Captain America 249.
Oh,
yeah. Very first issue of It had a very clever story about how I can't even remember the guy's name, the villain's name, but he was trapped in that computer, remember, and he couldn't kill himself, so he had to trick Captain America to come in and to destroy the computer and kill him. Remember?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Clever little story. All right, so the flea goes to Steve Gerber, Howard the Duck issue.
Okay.
Yeah, nice. I think that was clearly the best written book of the 100.
He's definitely up there for sure.
All right, best artist, 2 categories left: best artist and best book. Best artist nominees: Frank Bruner, Doctor Strange issue 4.
Yeah, he was solid.
I had no knowledge of Frank Bruner, or the Academy had no knowledge of Frank Bruner until this issue, and they were really impressed by his work. So good stuff. Next up, Kerry Gamble, Indiana Jones 11.
Really?
Yes.
He's pretty good, but
well, it's not. He's pretty good. It's that issue is amazing.
Okay.
George Perez, Justice League 196.
Oh yeah.
John Romita Sr., Amazing Spider-Man 111.
Oh, of course.
This was Spider-Man versus the Gibbon and Kraven the Hunter.
Right.
And Alex Toth, Adventure Comics 418. The Black
yeah.
Black. And the flea, I almost said the winner, but that's wrong. You don't say that. You say the flea goes to Kerry Gamble, Indiana Jones.
Come on.
Yeah.
It's
easily
John
the best.
Romita Sr. and Alex
Yeah.
What?
Alex Toth. Listen, the Alex Toth, he's great, but it's like cartoony art. It was only 8 pages. It wasn't a full issue. Come on.
What about John Romita Sr.?
Hey, great. John Romita Sr. is great. That's why he was nominated.
Okay.
But Indiana Jones issue 11 is so good. It is so good. Just go back and study that for draw a comic book. It's so good. Kerry Gamble wins it.
All right.
Sure, this isn't like the La La Land thing where you're gonna you read the wrong name.
No.
Exactly.
Kerry Gamble. I stand by that, or the Academy stands by that. Best book: Daredevil 161, Roger McKenzie and Frank Miller. Again, Daredevil versus Bullseye in an amusement
This
park.
is the nominations, you mean, right?
Yeah, nominations.
Okay.
Howard the Duck, issue 8, Steve Gerber, Gene Colan.
There's a lot of overlap here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Customers.
Indiana Jones 11, Dave Michelinie and Kerry Gamble.
It's not funny. That's not funny. Okay.
Jungle Action 10, Don McGregor.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. Okay.
Justice League 196, Jerry Conway, George Perez. I mean, the Academy Awards, the best actors and actresses, they tend to be in the best movies, too.
Okay,
you know?
Okay.
It's true.
And
Directors are usually the same people.
The flea goes to Howard the Duck, issue 8. Steve
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
As a bold choice by the Academy, not a single person got punched, I don't think, in that entire issue. but it was the best written issue. Gene Colan's art was great in it. It was just very unique and ahead of its time, I would say, and for the way it was written and done. So congratulations, Howard the Duck issue 8.
Well, I guess now I'll do my fleas. I mean, my Academy fleas. No, just kidding. Anyway,
So there you
I
go.
will say off. Okay, you know what, Kevin Jank, you listen to every episode, right?
Yeah.
Or almost every. Okay, could you name your maybe favorite issue off the top of your head or favorite writer artist?
I mean, I didn't read all the issues. I just listened to
Right.
the episode, so it's hard to say.
Okay,
But,
good point.
Yeah, John Romita Sr. is definitely got to be up there. He's pretty great.
Yeah, I would have to say just from
That's
off the
why he
top
was
of my
nominated. Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, to me, like since I know that from all the ones we've done, my favorite artists are probably John Romita Sr., Alex Toth, Michael Golden. It would be one of those three for sure. For my
Well, you're
favorite.
saying your favorite artist, favorite art in a book that we reviewed.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah,
Michael
let's narrow it
Golden's
down.
art in that Batman book wasn't good.
didn't we do 2 Michael Goldens or no, just one?
He did some covers. He did that ROM cover.
Okay, true. In that issue, he wasn't good.
No.
So it would go to Alex Toth then, or John Romita Sr.
But Alex Toth, 8 pages.
Doesn't matter. Those 8
It
pages
wasn't an
are worth.
issue.
It was worth 100 pages by Kerry Gamble.
No, see, you're conflating the artist with the work in that issue. Who's he?
No.
Don't read that book again. It's so good.
Listen. Even you admitted you couldn't believe how good Alex Toth's art was in that issue.
No, it's great, but it's 8 pages and it's a different style. It's like a cartoony style, which is great. But I like the Academy likes classic comic book art.
And my Academy, which is a different Academy, likes Alex Toth.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But next time, have your Academy make the awards.
Okay. And that wait. Now I have to list my favorite writer.
He'll have the Golden Globe Awards.
Well, we know your favorite writer is Alan Moore, Swamp Thing, or Neil Gaiman.
Yeah, how did you know? So yeah, my favorite writer for Flea Market Fantasy, the Flea goes to Alan Moore for Swamp Thing, and also Neil Gaiman for Sandman. There you go, and Grant Morrison for Doctor Who. And
oh my God, that Doctor Who! Give me a fucking break.
And then my favorite issue. I don't even know my favorite issues. I'd have to think about that. But there's been a lot of good ones. I'll back to that
100
later.
pages, whatever it was.
Oh, there you go. Christmas with the Superheroes #2 or #1. There you go.
There you go.
There's our list.
100 episodes.
So are we going to see a return of these fleas for #200 or 150?
Are we going to see a 200? I think that's
the better. With these numbers, anyway. So anyway,
cancel you.
Yeah. So yeah, thanks again for joining us, Kevin Jank, at the last minute, literally the last minute. Like I messaged you at what, like 2 o'clock or something?
Yeah.
I'm like, thank you.
I took the quesadilla right out of my mouth.
Wow. And Jank, just because you're doing this show tonight doesn't mean you're off the hook for LCS tomorrow. You got to do this.
Oh, I know.
And also, Michael, we did not mention what issue we're doing next. So,
we didn't. You're right. So tell us.
So, well, tomorrow on the LCS show, we'll be talking about Loki, I'm sure, right, Jank? Did you watch the Loki?
Oh, yeah, sure did.
So, next issue, or next that we'll be doing here on Flea Market Fantasy, I'm going to try and get revenge on Mike L for making me read a 90-page flash book. So, this will be Giant Size Avengers issue 2.
Whoa.
1974, written by Steve Englehart and drawn by Dave Cockrum.
Oh.
It's 68 pages, but it features a fella I like to call Kang the Conqueror.
Oh, nice.
Spoilers.
You know what's funny is I think I had that issue and I just sold it like a month ago. Anyway.
Do you remember anything about it, Michael?
No, I don't. No.
Because it's a pretty famous issue because, again, it's got Kang all through it, but the swordsman dies.
Ooh, spoiler. Okay.
Everyone's favorite Avenger. How could they do that?
So, but yeah, Kang the Conqueror we'll be discussing.
Nice. All right. Well, thank you again for joining us, listeners, for 100 glorious episodes of Flea Market Fantasy. We'll be sure to bring you more appearances of Thomas, a.k.a. Starman, very soon.
Oh.
And we'd like to say hi to all our listeners in France. We'll be reviewing more French superheroes. Yeah, there you go. And yeah, you can find all of our episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, yeah, Apple Podcasts, and Stitcher under Comic Book Syndicate. Also, you can find us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and the Comic Book Syndicate website. So until next Tuesday, disperse!